Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Lancescurv. I wanted to touch on this particular topic this morning: Tyson versus Mayweather. Tyson versus Mayweather, a heavyweight against a welterweight. What is it all about? I have some thoughts on this, and it's going too far. Boxing, or the perception of what boxing is going to trash. Boxing was once the crown jewel of sports in the Black community. It gave us pride, dignity, and living examples of strength and discipline. From Joe Louis to Muhammad Ali, boxing was not just a sport, it was a statement. It reflected our struggle, our resilience, and our greatness. Today, what we see is not the same. The sport has been watered down into something closer to circus entertainment. The latest insult is a planned exhibition. At least they're telling us it's an exhibition, right? The planned exhibition between Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather. These are two men who are great in their time, but their time has passed. Mike Tyson is almost 60 years old and no longer resembles the fighter who once struck fear into opponents. His health struggles are obvious. The exhibition with Jake Paul already showed us he's a shadow of his former self. Floyd Mayweather, on the other hand, was never about legacy. He has always been about money. His 50-0 record is spotless, but instead of leaving the sport with dignity, he's dragging his name through the mud for another payday. What does this say to the Black community? It shows that our heroes are being used up, recycled, and exploited until their names no longer shine. Instead of leaving or teaching discipline and leaving the legacy and pride, boxing is teaching greed and desperation. There comes a point when even the strongest warriors must put their gloves down. Mike Tyson should be celebrated for what he has already done, not pushed back into the ring to stumble around for laughs. His fight with Jake Paul exposed how far he has fallen. That fight looked less like a sporting event and more like a stage performance. Floyd has always bragged about being Money Mayweather, and while it brought him wealth, it also exposed his priorities. Instead of building boxing back up for the next generation, he chooses to milk every dollar from gimmick fights. It's no longer about boxing skill. It's about entertainment packages that mock the sport. Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather would have never fought in their primes. Tyson was a heavyweight. Mayweather was a welterweight. To schedule this now, decades later, is absurd. It is disrespectful to true fans and insulting to their legacies. Believe that. I jotted down 10 reasons this fight is foolish. And to those making money from it, trust me, they're not going to think the same way. Here's the first one. Mike Tyson is almost 60 years old and physically declining. His doctor, wrote some scathing things about him after the Jake Paul fight. He can look mean, he can beat up the normal guy on the street, and most people in the world probably, right? But he's not himself. And we're romanticizing this whole thing, and I'll speak about that later on. He looked weak and unsteady in the Jake Paul exhibition. It was obvious. We saw those clips before. So, this guy got that old man strength, and that old man, he's getting in shape. He's going to kill this guy who's a reformed YouTuber. It didn't happen. All he did was stumble around. He threw a few punches here and there, bit into his gloves, and that was it. Health issues like ulcers make it dangerous for him to fight. I don't have to comment on that. That's obvious. Mayweather is much smaller and was never in Tyson's division. Okay, I'm going to watch that. I want to see because Mike Tyson has some serious feelings against Mayweather because Mayweather spoke about Muhammad Ali and he said he was greater than Muhammad Ali. And you know how Mike Tyson feels about Muhammad Ali. You better not say anything about him. So this may be staged as an exhibition. Even if they say, listen, pull back on the punches, Mike. Don't try to knock him out. You think if Floyd Mayweather gets in front of him and Tyson gets emotional, he's much bigger. We know he's not the Mike of old, but he's much bigger. He will grab that man, throw him in the corner, and try his best to hurt him somehow, some way, and claim it's a mistake. Mike Tyson still hurt a little Floyd Mayweather, but Floyd Mayweather can go, if he's looking at this exhibition like a heavy-handed game of tag, he might look good because Tyson is too slow. But I think that at some point, something's going to break emotionally. You know what I mean? And something's going to happen during this fight where it gets heated. It's an exhibition, but this may be the last time that we see Mike Tyson in the ring. Even if it is an exhibition, he may try to leave an impression for the sound bites and the video bites forever. I'm telling you, I see that in him. The fight otherwise would not be competitive, only staged entertainment. At this, Floyd Mayweather has more probably gas in his tank to look a little better, to look like his older self than Mike Tyson does. But Mike Tyson hits too hard. Hardcore boxing fans see through the deception. They're tired of this. It's bad enough as a hardcore boxing fan that we have to wait on many prima donna fighters who are supposed to be at the top of their game and active as fighters, wait for good paydays, prance around and avoid each other. Look at Gervonta Davis, right? He could have fought Shakur Stevenson. He doesn't want to get that rematch with Lamont Roach. He's another one who's skirting around and acting like he's the best, but he's not fighting the best. Look at the fighters of yesteryear: Archie Moore, Henry Armstrong, Joe Louis, all of these guys from back in the day, Sugar Ray Robinson. But Archie Moore, he would fight and go, and many fighters did this now, but this is one of the most notable. There was no guarantee. He would be in a racist sundown town, have to run alongside a cargo freight train, jump on it if he can get on it, to ride into the next town to get another fight that paid dirt cheap just to keep him alive before he got famous and bigger. And who knows, those paydays couldn't have been huge either. But it was a different time. Not only were you a fighter in the boxing ring, you had to be a fighter in life back in those days. You better had trained. Lots of times these guys had to train on inferior food. They didn't have training camps. They didn't have high-tech equipment to train on, doctors monitoring your health, your pulse, high-tech supplements, space-age knowledge of the body. But those guys still fought. I'm quite sure many of them fought with injuries and fought of the malnutrition. I mean, come on. So I don't look at the fighters today like I do yesterday. Some of them could have hung, some of them, but you had to be a fighter in life, and the ring was secondary. That was after the fact, So hardcore fans definitely see through this deception. Both fighters are risking their reputations for a quick check. Yes, they are. Because see, the casual fans that don't follow boxing see the imagery of these two fighters, and they'll equate that with when they were really fighting. I mean, come on. You go to the cookout. You have an old uncle there, 65, 70 years old. You slap him around playing, not hard, and you say, yeah, you couldn't handle me. No, back in the day, if he was a fighter, he'd stomp you. So it's leaving a bad taste in the mouth of the people who really love boxing, because boxing, this is messing boxing up. Let's put it that way. And younger fans are learning that boxing is fake and pre-planned. That's the impression they're going to get. And there are a lot of suspect fights, even in real boxing, that look to be fake and pre-planned. Let's think about it. Oh, God, what was the guy's name? They fought in Atlantic City. Mike Tyson. Oh, God. Sheldon. Sheldon was his last name. And when you look at the replay, you can go there. Tyson-Sheldon fight in not Las Vegas, in Atlantic City. Tyson swung on him. And when he felt like he was knocked out, the punch never hit. You can see it. I love Mike Tyson, but that was a Don King production. Who knew? Who knew? He missed that punch. Matter of fact, after I finish speaking, I'm going to go back and look at it. I'll drop the link in the comment section of this video for you to see. It was just too much. And it makes the sport look like a carnival instead of art. Also, as far as the black community is concerned, you know, our heroes should inspire and not embarrass. Legacy is legacy, and they're marring their legacy. The death of authentic boxing. Exhibitions like this are tearing down the sport. When the greats were active, fights meant something. Every punch was real. Every win or loss was historic. Now, fights are being scripted, watered down, and packaged for social media clips. That's all it is. When fighters keep coming back for meaningless exhibitions, they're selling their names. They're no longer champions. They become actors in a cheap play. For Mike Tyson, this hurts even more because he once represented the raw power of our community. Now, I hate to say it, but it's like he's becoming nothing more than a cheap street walking hooker, a prostitute, just for his name. I understand the money, but this is a disgrace. But the biggest tragedy is what this teaches young people. Instead of discipline, sacrifice, and training, the message is sell your image, fake a fight, and collect a check. That's the poison to a sport that once taught respect and self-control. The black community once looked to boxing as proof of what we can rise, or that we can rise above the system, right? Every victory was a cultural victory. But when Tyson and Mayweather turned boxing into a sideshow, that history is disrespected. They're not only tarnishing their names, but also tarnishing what they stood for in our collective memory. The fight between Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather should not happen, really and truly. What's that going to show us? It's not about sport. It's not about legacy. It's about money. And money alone can never buy back respect. The sport of boxing is in danger of being lost. Each gimmick fight pulls it further away from the greatness it once held. If this continues, boxing will no longer be taken seriously. For the black community, there should be a warning. We must protect our heroes while they are alive, not allow them to be used as props. A name is powerful, but once it's sold out, it could never be brought back. We need to demand more from these who carried our pride. We need discipline, honor, and authenticity to return. Exhibition fights may sell tickets, but they destroy the soul of the sport. Let us not cheer for this circus. Let us demand real boxing, real champions, and real legacy for the next generation. That is how we protect what once belonged to us and how we reclaim the dignity boxing gave to our people. I remember watching Muhammad Ali fight George Foreman in the movie theater back in was October of 1974. The Thrill, not the Thrill in Manila, or the Rumble in the Jungle, but I saw that also with my father, the Thrill in Manila, and those were. It meant so much to me to go to a fight with my father. My mother didn't want to go, but he took me, and that's a memory, and that's something that we had, and that's something that we have. Boxing is for everybody, but it means something especially to the black community, just like the same way boxing in its own way means something to the Mexican community. It means something to the Puerto Rican community, all the different nations, even Japan, Philippines, Manny Pacquiao, all of these different cultures and races of people have their heroes, and why is it us that we're selling out so much like this? Why do they target other people? But I wouldn't want to see that either. Leave boxing alone with this foolishness. I'd rather watch the clips of an old Mike Tyson fight or an old Floyd Mayweather fight and remember where I was at that particular time when I was watching it. I was looking at Mike Tyson when he lost to Buster Douglas. And I'll never forget that. It was in the front room of my house in Richmond Hill, Queens, and my old girlfriend Donna was there. My friend Barry, Barry Biz on on TikTok, he was there. There was one other person that was there, and my father had about a year to live. He had Alzheimer's. He had different complications, but he came from upstairs and he came downstairs to watch the fight. And even he couldn't believe it, even though he was having little issues and whatnot with absorbing what was being seen. It was a shock to him. So we feel these things. These are our heroes. These are the people we identify with, and we want to see them win. We don't want to see them as a cheap prostitute. I remember, and I spoke of it before. There was a young lady who in elementary school was just so pretty and so gorgeous. And when the crack epidemic came around, I saw her at the gas station, and I couldn't believe it. I still treated her with respect, but she still kind of flirted with me as though I was going to give her $5 to perform an act. That broke my heart. That broke my heart. She's a part of me. We went to school together. We have memories together. And I couldn't believe that. Nobody wants to see their heroes downtrodden and just, I don't know. It's a part of me growing up. Just like Muhammad Ali. It hurt me, even though it was a health reason, that Muhammad Ali, his condition deteriorated, but still, he got the respect of everybody. If anybody wants to come on in, I'm just dropping the link right now. If you have anything you want to say before I sign off, I just wanted to put this out there. I found this out not too long ago, and I was working on another show. I put up another article on Lancescurv X as a precursor to the show that we're going to do later on homelessness. But if anybody wants to come on in and say anything, I just want to say welcome to Louis McNeil. Louise McNeil. Oh, I'm sorry, the computer's so far away. Yes, but let me see what she said. She said, "Yeah, why are we fighting too old?" Exactly. Yeah, too old. Yes, Louise. Thanks again for being here. I'm sorry, I'm reading everything off so fast. Yeah, it's better to have a good name than silver or gold. Exactly. Exactly. I think so, Sister Reese. But Lala Ali, she's not dumb. She's not dumb. Um, what's her name? Clarissa Shields. She down for it. She knows she's younger and all this stuff. But I think Layla Ali in her prime would have handled her. But it's a clout thing. It's an attention thing, and I don't know. Clarissa Shields in the present day, just to mention, to me, yes, she's successful. And I had a show not too long ago about how she's presenting herself to the world, with showing her behind and all, you're a professional athlete, have a little dignity and represent. She's kind of cementing the fact that this hood mentality and thought culture and hoochie culture, and I know that she may have a lot of influences that way in her upbringing. I'm not saying she is that, but she needs to see past a little more of the influence that she has. And I think that that's a lot to do with it also, you know, because to me, she's hurting. She's successful. I'm talking about Clarissa Shields, but there's a hurt that I see inside of her, of her trying to prove herself. It's within her. She'll probably never admit that, but she's hung up on proving herself. And it's not just in the ring, but the dancing and the sexual type stuff. That's too much. In her world coming up, that may have been it, but you got to look beyond your world. It reminds me when I would drive the bus in Orlando, Florida, and there's different neighborhoods that we go through, and certain neighborhoods that people accepted and would say, "This is the hood." That's what they said. A lot of good people still there. And I would go to other neighborhoods on that bus route, to tourist neighborhoods, other races and stuff. I drove that bus route for many, many years. And the thing is that those who lived in that particular so-called hood, by their standards, they didn't think beyond that. Of course, they had to mix around with the outside world and everything, but they didn't think beyond that place called the hood. And that kept them there. Even if they moved away, it was still in them. It kept them there. So that's a little off topic, but I just wanted to touch on that. So listen, I'm going to come back. I'm preparing another show later on. But once I heard this, I was like, this is time sensitive. Let me just say a few words about this bad boy because this is just too much. Anyway, much love to you all. Lancescurv out. I will be back. Leave your comments below. What do you think about this Tyson versus Mayweather exhibition fight that they have so many decades? And then one more thing I want to say. We look at these clips of when these fighters are in their prime, and it's kind of brainwashing us because we think it's still like that. It's not like that anymore. You see, just the same way we look at old clips of performers and singers and entertainers, and it brings us back to when we were younger, and we think it's like that, and then we see them currently and say, oh man, they got old. You know what I mean? That's what happens. But it brainwashes us to think that time is frozen and these things can keep going on. But it's more evident with our fighters and our athletes. Singers get up there, you say, okay, they put on a little weight, they look a little old, you know, but that's what it is, whatnot. It makes you think, but this is too much. Don't try to sell me something like this. That's the bottom line. Anyway, much love to you all. Lancescurv out. I will talk to you later. Peace.